We're back with Ryan Dodson from Liberty Tax Services, talking all things tax related. This person's asking, my daughter worked her first job last year and made $2,000. What is the maximum amount a person can make before they file taxes?
So that partly depends upon their age, but a general adage about that is going to be, the standard deduction, $12,450 if they're single, and then $10,000 in the state of North Carolina is going to be the requirement for them to file taxes. However, if she had any federal income or state income taxes withheld, she may want to file a tax return so she can get a refund of those taxes.
Okay. This person says, what happens when I realize I didn't file my taxes for last year? What do I need to do?
Well, our suggestion, of course, is going to be file it as soon as you possibly can. If you're due a refund, well, then you'll be okay. You should be just fine. If you do owe, then unfortunately, you're going to be assessed failure to file penalties and interest on that. But sometimes we can get that abated if we ask nicely.
If we ask nicely. All right. Can I claim my sister on my taxes? She does not work and she lives with me.
Yes, that she would be qualified as an other dependent if she is, since she does establish a relationship requirement with you, and she did not have any income during the year, then yes, you can claim her on your tax return and you'll be entitled to a $500 credit.
Okay, and that is a $500 and it is a tax credit, not a deduction. All right, so do I have to file my business LLC taxes separately than my personal taxes?
That is going to depend upon how you elected that LLC to be treated. The majority of folks elect it as they're the only owner of that LLC, so they elect for that to be taxed. It's called as a single member. And what that means is that it's going to go on a Schedule C, which is going to be filed with your federal 1040. And that is due, of course, this upcoming April the 18th. Now, if for some reason you chose it to be taxed as a partnership because you have another partner, or it's taxed as an S corporation, well, then that date, unfortunately, is passed. It was March the 15th. But at the end of the day, it really depends upon how you elected the LLC.
Okay, and hopefully you elected it to be done on April the 15th or 18th because that's where you are at the moment. Okay, this next question makes me kind of laugh, Ryan. IRS seems to always catch you if you owe them money, but do they ever catch an error if they owe you money? I'm sure you've seen that a few times.
Yes, I have seen that a few times. However, very rarely have I ever seen a notice coming from the IRS that says, oh, hey, look, we caught where you owe you money. The only time I've ever seen that occur is when someone has filed a tax return and has made a math error on their return when they did send it in, and the IRS, of course, corrects it and say, hey, look, according to the math error, we owe you a little bit more money, but otherwise, no.
I think people would be interested to find out, how does the IRS look at your stuff? Do they go line by line to see if everything matches up? Is that how it goes?
So, of course, they have a computer system that goes in and takes a look at all of it and then compares it to the other forms that have been filed with your information on it. So they do have where it will match W-2s up, it will match any 1099s that you have, whether that's, NECs or whether that's, stock transactions and so forth, just to make sure that it all matches together. And if it doesn't match, then they'll send you a letter, and what that letter will say, hey, Kate, this is how you filed, and this is what we received, and there's a difference here, and we need you to explain that difference. And oh, by the way, if you don't explain the difference, here's how much more you owe us.
Gotcha. So if people go to a tax preparer or they try and do it at home in the next few days, what would be the advice that you would give them about their documents and things of that nature?
Please make sure you have every single document that you need out there. And if for some reason you file a tax return and you don't have all your documents, but the return was filed anyway, luckily you can file an amended tax return, and file an amended tax return kind of after the fact, and the IRS does take those electronically, so they're processed a lot faster. But you want to file an accurate tax return as quickly as you can.
All right, an amendment. That just sounds sticky for sure. All right, nobody wants to do that if they don't have to, right?
Correct. Absolutely not, but it's there if you need it.
All right, and it happens. All right, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. If you missed any of today's segment, just head over to our website. It will be in the Two Wants to Know section of WFNYNews2.com.